Welcome to Marin Poets Live. I'm Neshama Franklin. I work at the Fairfax Library and I love poetry. After this program airs on TV, it will appear on the Marin Free Library website as part of a digital archive which also features biographies of the poets and links to our collection. For this month's program, we will feature Robin Lee. Welcome, Robin.
Thank you, Neshama.
Okay, as we do, we like to ground ourselves in the place we live, Marin. So what you going to bring us?
Well, I have 3 poems from my first 2 chapbooks. The third of them is most definitely set in Marin, but they all have something to do with it. This first poem is called Let's Let the Sky. When I wrote it, I was hoping that it would kind of be a one-off and that the times, wouldn't be necessary for the times, They were turbulent when I wrote the poem. And it turns out to be kind of an evergreen poem and seems to never not be appropriate, at least as far as I'm concerned. Good. And it's called Let's Let the Sky. Let's let the sky relax a bit today. Let's let the clouds lie a little lower. Let's let the buildings incline this or that way, away from or towards each other. Let's let the birds float past the windows like fish in a tank, their scarlet cries smearing pastel. And as well, let's let the sky sigh one grateful sigh and relax a bit today.
Well, it worked on me, and Lord knows I need it, and we
so
all
do we
need
all
it.
Right now, more than ever.
Exactly, it's an incantation. Yeah. Thank you very much. What's coming next?
Wow. This is a poem called Long Distance. Believe it or not, this has never happened to me before. I kind of forgot that I wrote this a few years ago, and I stumbled upon it, and I thought, oh, whoa. And I very quickly revised it, which was interesting. Just shows me to myself that I've kind of changed, grown maybe, I don't know, but I was able to bring it around to where I thought maybe it should be. This is called Long Distance. I phoned my teenage son who's studying Mandarin in Taiwan. Cell phone hell from Kentfield to Taichung. I catch 1 word in 3. Happily, I discern he's doing well. We shout goodbye and end the call. And then surprise, cell phone static hasn't angered me. It used to take 2 months at sea to see Peru, Niger, or France. Strange language music, strange aromas, rhythms strange. You ventured to these worlds unique and left your world behind. Sealed into the now and here, your sense of awe intact. A shrinking world shrinks drama in our lives. Every conference call, all 6-hour flights, thin the unknown's sum. Send mysteries into flight. Long distance from my son, I'm glad our call leaves his journey largely undisturbed. Bad connection deals interchange a blow. And so my wife and I link arms and re-begin the ancient parent dance, holding on, letting go.
That's really delicious, because it's such a paradox.
I know.
That you just put your finger on.
I'm old enough to remember getting on a train to travel from Canada originally, and knowing that this is it, I'm sealed off. Nobody can get in touch with me. And it was a nice feeling. I read a stack of books this high, it was, but those days are gone.
Yeah. Okay, what comes next?
This is Marinish. This one is called Cause for Cautious Optimism. It's a little bit longer. Because it arches Waldo Grade, the leading civil servant, with normal civil verve, named it Waldo Tunnel. But my son calls it the Rainbow Tunnel, after painted spectral bands that span its southern side. But even this approaching bit of cheer is tamped by dusk and rain as car-clad commuters and I stop-start towards the city. I am driving to a reading, of all things, and wondering exactly why. I ease into the tunnel and I settle in, a quarter hour or more of concrete and fluorescent light. And then, 50 yards along, the light beep of a horn is heard. The nasal, pungent sound bounds around containing walls. Before it quite has died away, a different honk is heard, a short pause, then another. This light exchange of sound is rush hour convention. A few will do it for a while and then are heard no more. But this evening, something different occurs. More people join in, and then more. And soon 100 sounding horns are heard. Horns deep and throaty, horns sharp and clear, rude abrasive horns, delicate polite horns, short blasts, long and drawn-out wails, a wild display of rhythm. All in all, a noise like no other I have heard. A joyful car horn symphony, rich and full, rude and modern, and most important, making real an anarchy of spirit. Caught within this heady spin, I snap recall when I first felt this way. 1964, the year the Beatles first appeared. My classmates in the second grade and I wield sword sticks and classroom project Viking shields, which were to illustrate some point of history, I'm sure. We find they are more useful in our recess wars and battles. And then the bell is heard. We huddle round the classroom doors, as do children from the other grades. But before we can enter, someone strums his shield, a mock guitar, and he begins to sing. She loves you, yeah, yeah, yeah. She loves you, yeah, yeah, yeah. Some other kids pick up the song, strumming Viking shields in time. She loves you, yeah, yeah, yeah. She loves you, yeah, yeah, yeah. More and more, the other kids, possessed of shield guitars or not, join in the refrain. She loves you, yeah, yeah, yeah. She loves you, yeah, yeah, yeah. At once, it seems, the autumn air of schoolyard, city, Canada too, is filled to overflowing with the sound of children's song. She loves you, yeah, yeah, yeah. She loves you, yeah, yeah, yeah. Teachers appear at classroom doors, demanding that we stop. We strum and sing still louder. A madness shiver shoots through me. I'm sure through others too. Our singing can't be stopped. They can't tell us what to do. Growing up, it seemed to me, despite much foolishness and grief, that this belief informed the way the world was slowly growing. We would simply change the rules and history as well, all by singing loud enough as one. But it was not to be. This world spirit spent itself in years too few to number, and the years that followed seemed to nourish less and less the public heart. To drift apart seemed our lot, and each to harden inward. And so this choral car horn song, this joyful noise communal, rains brief life onto my soul. For one long moment, it seems to me the dream was not unreal, and I see some of my fellow horn performers smiling. So we leave the tunnel, this dwelling place of rainbows, and we all proceed, me to my reading, the others to their different destinations. Still, the horn sounds ringing in my ears, it comforts me to think we may yet end up where we ought to be.
What a surprise that was. You know, again, it takes the quotidian and it pulls you into a place of ecstasy long ago,
Yeah.
and it gives you a little hope. The words nasal pungent really made me go, oh, what a... the wonder of memory and being able to plunge yourself right back into that space of joy. Well, what comes next?
Well, those poems are from my first two collections, The Livelong Day and Reckless Simplicity. They're published by Finishing Line Press, and they do a very nice job of chapbooks, I think. And I like chapbooks. They're you can get 18 or 19 poems, and it's just a nice digestible amount of poetry. So I have another one in with them. I hope they choose to publish it. It's called Make Show. And it's a bit different from, and I guess this is, one should be happy about this, but poetry kind of changes as you get older, and different things. We change,
Thank heaven it changes.
Absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely. So here are a few poems from this new collection, Make Show.
Okay.
This one is called In Situ. A message in a bottle, a probe launched into space. I press the dark for answers. The dark laughs in my face.
That's it.
That's the poem.
That's great. That's great.
Some of the other poems in the other books too, it's interesting. I sometimes think that, the short poems, I mean, some beautiful, short, pungent poems, if you can get them, if you can come up with them.
Yes.
Right.
Such a neat little package with its rhyme as well.
You look at one of my favorite poets, of course, many people's favorite poets, Robert Frost, has a number of those poems that are no more than 8 lines, but they
stick with you.
Stay with you forever.
Yes, exactly. So tell me more.
This poem is called The Poem I Didn't Write About 9/11. The poetry group director directs. Write a poem about 9/11, its impact and effect, due next Wednesday's meeting. To collar the event, fold it into my orbit, 2 scant months after the attack, seems to me obscene. And yet, driving west on Sir Francis Drake, off 101, towards my home, I approach Bon Air and ease into the left turn lane. Onrushing traffic to my right. Waiting for the left turn light, I glimpse my rear view mirror. A glinting ray of sun, a cloud's curious cast. 3 feet away, cars shoot past. One of these metal containers of gas will surely smash my gas container. A second's lapse, neck snaps, mind hushed. Broken body rushed, needlessly rushed, to help. It happens just like that.
Now, I just have to ask you, did this actually happen, or is this what 9/11 felt like to you? Was there an actual crash behind you?
There was no crash, and I'm the person who anticipates a crash in the poem. No, but I did notice that after 9/11, and maybe I speak for many people, just the general sense of vulnerability went up sky high.
Definitely.
I'd be in a left turn lane beforehand and just think, well, I'm in the left turn, I'm going to turn left. Now I have cars going, this far away from me. Well, why shouldn't they just smash into the back of me? Why shouldn't that happen?
Exactly. So and I love the way you just brought it right down to a place we've all been in very many times. Again, the ordinary life, which has poetry throughout.
It does. Well, this is another kind of poem, and it's in the new collection. The new collection is a bit more on the dark side, and you just can't have dark poem after dark poem. That doesn't make for a lot of variety. So this is an example of a different style of poem that I came upon, and they're interleaved with other poems in the new collection. This one is called A Cooler Judgment. I won't be quite absorbed. He asked what I'm afraid to extract. I was sorry for reasons unsubstantial enough. I was guided by you. He must not be allowed to go back. We must endeavor to form a cooler judgment. He laughed at me as he laughed as he ran his hand softly before my lips, while I was yet speaking.
Now that is very mysterious to me, I have to say. I probably have to hear it a few more times for it to come into focus. But I want to get to more poems,
if it
so
ever
we'll just
entirely
leave
does.
that one kind of like a dangling
I
question
think that's an
mark.
appropriate way to treat it, Neshama. Thank you. Yes.
Okay.
This is a poem called The Bargain. Okay, I've got the secret identity. Now, how about those superpowers? That's it.
Whoa, yes. So you are in some kind of weird dialogue with, with the universe. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
You're throwing it out there. It's time.
Yeah.
As we get older, there's less of it.
No,
and we make more demands upon it and on ourselves.
That's very true, Neshama.
Yeah.
I actually hadn't even really thought of it that way, but I think there is some of that going on in this new collection, and I'm 60 years old.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Okay, what's next?
Well, okay. This is this last group of poems, although if we have time, I've got many of them, but this poem is from the second collection, Reckless Simplicity, and it's called What We Forget to Know. I have after Howard Nemeroff. Not everybody knows, he's a poet of the 50s and 60s. He was Deanne Arbus's brother, the photographer. Yeah. Very interesting poet. And there was an image in one of his poems that I kind of borrowed and used for my own purposes, but I felt moved to credit him. It's only fair. So it's What We Forget to Know, after Howard Nemeroff. White with black-tipped wings and tail, yellow shaded head and predatory beak, the gannet scans the sea below, locks onto prey, plunges cold Atlantic depths, splashes ocean into sheer scrim that catches sun, reveals the hidden spectral stuff of light, a sight that lasts an instant only, but an instant is enough.
That's so pointed. It's so it's just a glimpse that goes right into the heart of things. It's interesting, many poets here spend a lot of time luxuriating in nature or bemoaning. But most of your poems come from, again, the daily life. And so here, through an image, you've gotten into something from nature.
Yeah. I think that's true.
I'm glad we have poetry on all the broad spectrum poetry.
There's room for everything.
Exactly.
For the expansive, for the distilled,
Yeah. And that is about as distilled as you get.
Yeah. Well, this one I did try to be in that mode for sure. Absolutely. And to try and catch, I think it's a poem that rewards a couple of readings, to tell you the truth, because there's an element of it that I think works on people, but is sort of consciously missed sometimes, and that might be this stanza here. Splashes ocean into sheer scrim that catches sun, reveals the hidden spectral stuff of light.
Yeah. It's very, very complex, subtle image.
And the scrim of water and the sun coming through, it's a rainbow. That is
exactly. And we think of scrim as that which obscures, but in this case it reveals.
That's exactly
the paradox.
Right. That's great. Yeah,
yes?
that's very true.
Okay, so 7 minutes, just so you're on
right,
target.
All right, I think we're just right, I think. So. This one is called Travel Brochure. He turns it over and over again, a talisman, a worry stone, a charm. The small pamphlet lost in his large hands, a pamphlet that spans mysteries. An enchanted city, no less exotic than Oz, a land of silicon, silver, and bridges of gold, of oceans and bays and strange exotic ways, sent months before by a son, ill and long moved away. The evening breeze carries the scent of wheat and sweetgrass to the porch. The 60-year-old man turns the pamphlet over and over again in his hands. It could be a cockatoo or a blue-nosed baboon here in the pastel land where 23 churches minister to the flock. Over and over he turns the thought. He waited too long, too long. His son, who needed different colors, brighter colors, now gone.
Ooh. Now, is that from something from your life?
No, it's not. It's from a couple of things I read something in a book.
Good. I'm relieved because it was so sad.
Yeah.
But we've all had feelings.
The poignance.
Like that. Poignance, exactly.
Yeah,
that
the poignance.
Which you didn't do.
There's something in a book and something else.
Yeah.
Well, how it worked. It was 2 or 3 things that sort of
Yeah.
came together. You
Right.
know?
Okay. Well, great.
Okay. Here's a short one, and then the longer one, and then bing. This one is called, after that sad one, this one is called By Any Measure. Walk to ocean 1 mile. Too hot day, too cool breeze. Breeze that reveals why men spent lives at sea. Breakers break, ocean spills icy chill on feet. Heaven, by any measure. Heaven complete.
I love the way you slip your rhymes in. They're very
Sneaky.
Sneaky music. Very
Sneaky
nice.
music.
Okay.
And this is the longest one. I'm sure this will be the last one. It's called CMOS. I sometimes like to finish with this one because it kind of called me back to poetry after a period of not writing poetry for many years, and then this one sort of got me going again, and haven't stopped since. And it's a Marin one, and the East Bay. Sea monster. The day I saw the sea monster was sea monster excluded, unremarkable. Just a clear Marin morning turned misty blue sky as I left the bridge behind and entered the East Bay. Berkeley bound on Highway 80, soon the mist thickened into a pale veil for the marshland on my right. But I didn't really notice. I was listening to the radio, thinking about my job. Then, from the edge of my eye, I saw her. The dragon head held high, the serpentine body breaking water in 4 half circles, the tail extended. For a brief moment, as I drove by, we gazed at each other, eye to eye. Of course, what I had seen was folk art, mist-enhanced. The neck and head were sticks of wood, the body 4 old tires, vertically secured and half submerged. The tail, wood again. Simple materials, simply arranged. But from such arrangement, what force had been gained? For maybe 2 eternal seconds, I had been in the presence of magic, of myth. A sea monster had simply surfaced from the bay to shake the commuter morning from my astonished eyes. Like all visceral effects of art, this one was short-lived, but aftershocks of our encounter informed much of my day. A sea monster of wood and tire can help adjust perspective, inspire a sense of play. And the generosity of spirit of the unknown artisans displayed, creating such a beast, released thoughts of other times, of those who quietly carved one cathedral stone, or shaped in silence a shard of bone, the better to brighten light. They did their part to open eyes, soften hearts. Their small, anonymous, crafted contributions sounded notes necessary in the symphony struggling to be born, still struggling to be born. The sea monster and I became the best of friends. That such a fabled creature of the deep would rise to the occasion and keep my own internal oceans suitably unsettled left me very grateful. And when, several months later, the sea monster was gone, it saddened me only for a moment. After all, her work just off Highway 80 was complete. Farewell, my friend. May you swim into others' lives as you have into mine. Or, if you wish, may you enjoy your quiet, briny sleep.
That is so surprising and so sweet, because those sculptures were really funky.
You remember them? I know.
And yet, you know what you got? You got the poem from it, That Sea Monster Lives. And she's just your wildly swirling spirit.
Right, my animal
Yeah,
spirit, or whatever the
exactly,
Native Americans
exactly.
say. Yeah.
Just marvelous. Thank you for bringing us home. On the back of a wild beast while sitting in a car going to work. What else can you ask for?
Yeah.
It's been an absolute joy.
Well, thank you so much, Neshama. It's been a
Okay.
joy to read the poems and to chat.
Okay.